What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and this will probably be my last video on The Last of Us 2 arc for a while until we get some sales data. I still predict the game will sell very well. Will it sell 10 million copies? I don't know. I think it will sell a lot, but I ran into somebody at the pub last night who was genuinely concerned. They were a fan of my content, are a fan of my content, and they were concerned that if they bought The Last of Us 2, that would make them a simp. Like, genuinely. Like, he had a real moment with me, and he was worried about, supporting these, he knows that he probably shouldn't, but he really liked The Last of Us 2, or The Last of Us, the original, and was really conflicted. And I'll tell you, I figured I'd share with you the conversation I had with him, or recount it from what I remember. I may meme on things because it's funny, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy that thing. For example, when I uninstalled World of Warcraft, I still miss it. And you know what? I'll probably go back to it someday. I boycotted it. It did nothing because boycotts do nothing. And, maybe one day I'll go back to it, probably when Shadowlands comes out, because I'm a simp for fun. I'm a simp for relaxing. You can still criticize something and still play it and enjoy it. I'll probably still play The Last of Us 2. I'm in a different position than the average person, It's literally a write-off for my YouTube channel, so I'm not exactly out the $60. And when I made those videos about the World of Warcraft, I believe I used this example when I talked to him, if I remember correctly. I talked about leaving the game and how I would never expect anyone else to do the same. How I would never judge anyone for playing the game. And if I did say something along those lines at that time, I probably believed it, but I think I was wrong. If you want to play World of Warcraft in spite of the stupid stuff Blizzard does, that's cool. That's your choice. Are there reasons to spend your money elsewhere? Yeah, of course. Are there other games out there that aren't run by people that are a little loony that you could play instead of The Last of Us 2? Sure. But you know what? Life is short. And while I will continue to meme on things and report on things that are funny, I don't want my viewers to ever think that I wouldn't want them to enjoy something that they enjoy. I've often, if you've watched my content for a long time, you know that I admit openly that I'm a big fan of Paul Blart Mall Cop. Actually, most of Kevin James' films. By any, stretch of the imagination, these are objectively bad movies. I really enjoyed, just because it's us girls here, I really like The Last Holiday with Queen Latifah. I watch it like all the time whenever it's on TV, which is usually, I think, around Christmas. And I watch Sister Wives with my wife. These are all objectively bad. But who cares? If you like it, you enjoy it, you win. And I don't want my viewers to ever feel bad about, say, going to see Star Wars. Look, I like Star Wars still. I like The Mandalorian. Yes, I will roast them from time to time. But that doesn't mean I would ever want my viewers to not enjoy something. So if I haven't been clear before, let me be clear now. I don't judge anybody for enjoying a thing. That is one of the stupidest things that you can do. Yeah, I'll make fun of like cam girls or something like that. But I know I have viewers that support people on OnlyFans. I know I do. And I don't want you to feel bad about it. I want you to be happy. I want my viewers to be happy. No, it doesn't make you a simp. All of this, is entertainment. I roast because I care. I roast because I have a thirst for interaction. I know that there are other YouTubers that do, but they're few and far between. I read all of my comments. I read almost every single time somebody tweets to me. I read it. I may not always respond, but I read it. I love the feedback that everyone gives me. And this kind of came about when I was talking about Fallout 76. I kind of backed off a little bit there too. Like, reporting on the debacle that was Fallout 76 is funny, but I don't want any of my viewers who play Fallout 76 to feel bad. If you like the game, you win. If you like the movie, you win. If you like the TV show, if you like Batwoman and you get enjoyment out of it, forget me. You know? I really mean this. And that conversation last night really, made me want to clarify this. Because as fun as it's been roasting The Last of Us 2 for legitimate reasons, really ultimately the story, if you noticed, I don't have as much skin in the game as some of the original players of this game. But the DMCA stuff, that is unforgivable. That, when I say I'm angry, I'm like legitimately, unironically angry about it. If you play the game and you still like the game, I'm happy for you. Seriously. Now on to this crazy article on Inverse. The Rest of Us, The Last of Us Part 2 trans controversy explained. I didn't know there was a controversy about it. Did you? There's a small but loud minority of people out there who want to tell you that video games belong to them and not you. Lady gamer, person of color, not straight, non-conforming. They will persistently interpret your opinions about games and desire to enjoy them as forcing an agenda. No, again, this in the very first paragraph, maybe they're talking about somebody else, but that's never been my opinion either. At no point. This is also, a take on the ridiculous narrative in the Magic the Gathering community that there's some sort of anti-woman gatekeeping. If you go to Friday Night Magic, there's like 80 dudes and usually no girls. If you ask all 80 of those men, hey, would you like to have females play your game? 80 out of 80 would tell you yes. This is an imaginary thing. Just like this. There's absolutely zero reason to not want anyone else to play a video game. But that's what they're disingenuously leading in here. What we're talking about is pandering within the narrative of the game for pandering's sake. If it's organic and you tell me The Last of Us 2 story was simply organic and not influenced at all by Anita Sarkeesian and Neil Druckmann's love of her videos, then I suppose I have to believe you. The latest target of ire, this perennial aggrieved subject of gamers, is The Last of Us 2. An April hack of the game's developer, Naughty Dog, revealed a number of major plot points, including the role of Abby, an antagonist for the first half of the game, who becomes its protagonist in the second. Abby has a serious grudge against returning heroes Ellie and Joel, and gets her revenge in brutal fashion. A post about the leaks from the right-leaning website One Angry Gamer bemoans Naughty Dog's woke anti-Christian agenda while savoring the dismay of fans of Ellie, a character described as a much-beloved lesbian icon for the SJWs who love to sing the game's praise on Twitter, but had no intention of buying the game. Oh, that was a quote, sorry. The post concludes with a baseless statement that naturally everyone is losing their minds, uniting in mutual disgust. Okay. It's One Angry Gamer. It's practically satire. There are things that are written there that I agree with, but then seemingly more and more recently, it's gotten just way, way, way hyper, like aggro about stuff. The Last of Us Part 2 leaks spread throughout social media in a week in April. Sorry, a narrow but distinct thread of commentary about Abby's appearance emerged. Broad shoulders and muscular arms sparked speculation that the character is trans, despite a total lack of confirmation in the leaked game footage. That's true. We never saw any confirmation of that. Citing an anonymous source with an unstated ties to Naughty Dog, Australian outlet Sausage Roll. Okay, so Sausage Roll is a joke. That's just a pure website full of garbage. Sausage Roll imagine a trans takeover of Naughty Dog in their latest. Well, we know it's Sausage Roll, so we know it's not true. You might recognize this line of arguments. And by the way, look, I may report on a sausage roll article, but you'll see I will almost always discredit it. Sausage roll is like, we got this covered for this side of YouTube. It's a great like business decision from, you know, a demand. They look at these type of YouTube channels that are social commentary channels, and you know, there's a lot of traffic there, but that website literally never has any reliable sources. What's more, this alarmist hand-wringing about the character's design in The Last of Us 2 neglects to account some pretty obvious elements of the story and setting. Maybe the characters aren't that bothered about looking pretty macho given the constant threat of the zombies and the whole fungal zombie apocalypse. That's true. That's very true. You know, this article, a lot of people sent it to me and said, get a load of this kind of thing. I mean, I don't disagree with it. One particular post, this is Vito, illustrates the first side-by-side comparison of Abby in Final Fantasy VII Remake's Tifa Lockhart, which reads American character design versus Japanese character design. Well, it's correct. Beautiful women versus a manly-looking woman. Even if the character isn't trans, she's not very feminine. But there is a very valid point that it's apocalypse. It's a post-apocalyptic world. Are girls going to put makeup on? I don't know. I mean, it seems unlikely. An ironic comparison, given that Tifa's Final Fantasy VII Remake design had previously prompted howls of censorship from these same corners of the internet after director Tsutsu Nomura said that Square Enix opted to tone down her unnatural chest from the 1997 version of the game. Well, no, both can be wrong. The second is a bit trickier to parse. On the surface, a handful of gamers are angry that The Last of Us Part 2 asked players to take part on the villain who supplants two fan-favorite characters, but really, this isn't about Ellie or Joel. Playing as a victim isn't at all that new, and similar shifts in perspective had been widely celebrated in the game as far back as Metal Gear Solid 2 and Halo 2. Very true. What's really ruffling feathers here is the process of being forced to understand and sympathize with a gender non-conforming trans person. Ah, there it is. That's why you sent it to me. No, that's just incorrect. Are there people out there that maybe feel that way? I mean, probably. But no, people are mad about having to play as somebody they hate. That's why. If you can learn to care about Halo's four-jawed lizard aliens, then surely it's possible to muster a bit of empathy for another human being, even one that doesn't look like Tifa Lockhart. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. People don't want to play as her or they or whatever the game says that this character wants to have as their pronouns because of any other reason but the fact that they're the villain and they ruined what for a lot of people are two characters that they love. It isn't any kind of phobia or anything like that. Unlike other female characters in The Last of Us Part 2 and most video games in general, Abby is more masculine than usual. Her shoulders are broad with defined biceps. The reveal of the gender non-conforming playable character led to many believe Abby was, in fact, a trans woman. There's nothing to confirm that fact. Her voice actress, Laura Bailey, is a cisgender woman, meaning she was assigned female at birth. So Abby probably is too. However, the game still appears to include trans representation in the character Lev, played by trans actor Ian Alexander. The ire from fans about having to play as a possible trans character brings up an interesting aspect of the video game. How do trans gamers see themselves in the games they play today? I mean, probably how they identified. Just as they use the same imagination any one of us would use. If you don't want to play this character simply because they're trans, that's your right. I don't know that I agree with it, but it's your money. I mean, you do what you want. I think that when you look at the way modern video games are going with Cyberpunk, 2077, basically being able to sets, but have both sets of junk, you're going to see more of this. And people who don't want to play it just won't buy it. It's going to be a decision that video game developers make. And I'm going to guess that if they force it on people, it's probably not going to go very well. But again, I believe this is far more about having to play someone that they hate versus play somebody who's possibly trans. That never even crossed my mind, actually. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoy your weekend and all your favorite hobbies. We'll talk to you again real soon.